At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a man named Zeke who has committed a bank robbery. After serving a 1-year sentence, he is finally released from jail. Upon his release, he buys himself a few beers and then meets his girlfriend, Zainab, who has modified his car's appearance, writing random things all over it. Zeke asks Zainab about the $1 million they stole, to which Zainab replies that she has hidden it in a safe place. Zainab takes Zeke to the location, but when they arrive, they find that a large high school has been built on the site. Following this, Zeke visits the club where Zainab works. The bar owner immediately recognizes Zeke, punches him, and reminds him about the 2,000 euros Zeke borrowed from him. Zeke promises to repay the debt, and the owner, for the time being, lets him stay in a room reserved for bar dancers, where they entertain customers. Zeke and Zainab spend the night in the room, trying not to get caught. Zeke pretends to be enjoying himself with a girl to avoid suspicion. Later, Zeke shares his plan with Zainab to infiltrate the school gym. He applies for a job as a generator repairman since the generator system connects to every room in the school. The next morning, Zeke arrives at the school and accidentally crashes his car into a student's bicycle. After entering the school, he tries to open the gym door, but it's locked. At this moment, he encounters a teacher named Lizzie, who has a sticker on her back that says, "Kick me." Following Lizzie's directions, Zeke waits outside the principal's office, where a long line of other job applicants has formed. A teacher named Nur enters, complaining to the principal about students throwing paint on her face, but the principal dismisses her complaint. Observing all the chaos, Zeke gets an idea and secretly activates the school fire alarm. Everyone rushes outside, and as the principal opens the door, Zeke blames a student for the prank, mocking him for his silly behavior. In the next scene, the principal interviews Zeke, mistakenly believing he is applying for a teaching position. Initially, Zeke denies this, but when he learns that teachers receive a 2,000 euro salary and keys to the gym, he accepts the job. However, his main challenge is providing fake qualification documents, which are due the next day. As Zeke leaves the office, a young boy blocks his way, but Zeke kicks the door and leaves without concern. Meanwhile, Lizzie tries to talk to her sister, Laura, who studies at the same school, but Laura ignores her and walks away. Later, Lizzie scolds a student for smoking, but the student doesn't listen because Lizzie is too soft-spoken. Zeke intervenes, snatches the cigarette, and extinguishes it with his hand, scaring the student away. Grateful, Lizzie invites Zeke to her house and offers him tea, feeling nervous as she believes something might happen between them. Zeke, however, requests alcohol. While Lizzie goes to fetch a beer from the fridge, Zeke seizes the opportunity to spike her tea with sleeping pills. After Lizzie drinks the tea and falls unconscious, Zeke steals her qualification documents and attempts to print fake ones, but the printer malfunctions. He downloads the documents onto a flash drive just as Lizzie's roommate enters the room. Zeke then places Lizzie on the bed, removes his clothes, and lies beside her, pretending they are having an affair. When her roommate arrives, Zeke explains that Lizzie is drunk and asleep. He then puts his clothes back on and leaves. The next morning, Zeke dons glasses to appear more like a teacher, packs beer cans in his bag, and heads to school. He spots Lizzie and waves at her from a distance, leaving her feeling hurt. At the school's teacher lounge, Zeke sees a senior teacher, Noor, who is about to jump out of a second-floor window due to the student's unruly behavior. When she falls, people gather, mistaking the red juice spilling from her bottle for blood. Fortunately, she survives, and an ambulance takes her away. The principal holds a meeting with the teachers to decide who will take over Noor's class, known for its unruly and dangerous students. Lizzie volunteers but is mocked and ignored by the students when she enters the classroom. When she picks up chalk to teach, her hands get sticky with glue. As she tries to wash her hands, a large amount of water gushes out, drenching her completely. When she dries herself with a towel, black paint smears her face. Humiliated, Lizzie decides to leave the classroom, but as she grabs the door handle, she finds feces smeared on it. She goes to the principal, asking for support, but is dismissed, leaving her in tears. Meanwhile, Zeke causes more chaos in Lizzie's class, encouraging the students to watch movies and promising them grades for good ones. He also steals their food and rests his feet on the desk, shocking the students with his audacity. At night, Zeke sneaks into the gym and starts searching for the stolen money, setting up sensors to detect anyone approaching. Back at Lizzie's home, her roommate fixes the printer, and it prints 2 pages of Lizzie's documents. Lizzie realizes that Zeke must have tampered with her files. To investigate further, she visits the principal's office and discovers that Zeke's documents are fake, matching hers except for the altered name. The sensors Zeke installed in the gym alert him to someone's presence. It's Lizzie, who confronts him about his deception and threatens to report him to the police. Zeke pleads with the principal to switch his class, and after much persuasion, the principal agrees. Zeke enters Class B10 for the first time, only to find obscene drawings on the board. When he opens a cupboard, his hand gets caught in a mousetrap, and a black liquid spills on him. As he tries to address the students, he realizes someone has superglued his chair, causing it to stick to his pants. Frustrated, Zeke leaves, only to find his car rigged with feathers that explode when he starts it. The principal witnesses this on the security camera and summons Zeke, noticing his torn pants, and reacts awkwardly. That night, Zeke returns with heavy machinery to continue his excavation. The next day, he takes a paintball gun to class, targeting students who skip class. When one tries to climb the fence, he falls, prompting the others to return to the classroom. Zeke establishes order by demanding silence, shocking Lizzie when she enters to find the class quiet. Eventually, Lizzie allows Zeke to stay at her home but makes him promise to teach the students properly. She gives him books, while her roommate suggests controlling the class leader to manage the rest of the students. Zeke reads the students' profiles and learns that most have a history of petty crimes. He devises a plan to handle them, setting the stage for more challenges ahead. Here we see Lacey guiding students in a swimming class, but once again, no one listens to her. At the same time, Zeke arrives and joins Lacey, pushing a student into the pool without her permission. This scares everyone, and they start jumping into the pool. Later, Zeke sees 2 students fighting and tries to resolve their conflict. However, one of the students accidentally kicks Zeke in his private area, which enrages him. Zeke takes the student into the water and dunks him repeatedly until the student apologizes tearfully and begs for forgiveness. After teaching the student a lesson, Lacey becomes nervous and talks to the boys' parents, asking them not to file a case against Zeke. However, the parents tell Zeke that their son deserved it and needed a lesson like this. They even support Zeke's method. Later, Zeke takes Lacey to lunch at Zainab's club, where bar dancers are performing. This embarrasses Lacey as she wants to teach children about good values, but they aspire to grow up to become bar dancers and dealers. She hopes to change their mindset. At night, Zeke meets an old criminal friend at the club who tries to convince him to rob a bank. However, Zeke refuses this time. Later, while digging, Zeke finds a time capsule containing letters written by Lacey when she was a student at the same school. The letters also include her pictures, where she had written about her dream of becoming a schoolteacher, which was very important to her. This touches Zeke, and he becomes emotional. He drinks heavily, punches a glass near the school trophies, and gets angry thinking about how his parents never supported him, leading to his current state. Exhausted, Zeke falls asleep on a desk. When he wakes up, he finds that the students have taken advantage of his sleep by applying nail polish to his hands and drawing strange designs on his face. As he walks into the hall, all the students laugh at him, but Lacey feels troubled and takes him to the restroom to clean up. Zeke starts vomiting and notices Laura behaving depressively, calling herself ugly and a loser. Zeke takes Laura to Zainab, who gives her a makeover, making her feel good about herself. Laura attends a student party where everyone notices her and is impressed by her look. In the next scene, Zeke takes the students on an educational tour to the homes of dealers, criminals, and gangsters, showing them the terrible living conditions with filth and cockroaches everywhere. He explains the harsh reality of a dealer's life, leaving the students shocked. Then, Zeke takes them to meet bar dancers and strippers who are living miserable lives, such as an old woman caring for her obese, unattractive husband. Finally, the students realize the futility of such paths and decide to pursue good jobs. Zeke advises them to join the drama club, and one smart student tells him that her grades are not bad enough to skip a year but could improve if she joins a group of nerdy kids. She does so and notices a student harassing a nerdy girl. She saves the girl and joins the nerd science club. Later, the students audition for Romeo and Juliet, performing well, but Zeke finds it boring and tells them they need to modernize the play. This angers the auditioning teachers, who leave, meaning Zeke must now take charge of the play. He convinces everyone to rewrite the script, making it modern and entertaining. While doing all this, Zeke spends time at the gym and grows closer to Lacey, and they start developing feelings for each other. The students become smarter under Zeke's guidance, and a teacher announces ratings on the internet, naming Zeke as a top teacher. Lacey feels slightly disappointed because she has never been recognized, but Zeke reassures her that it's all thanks to her. Zeke takes Lacey and the students outside to paint a bus with spray paints. Lacey is impressed by the students' art, but, unfortunately, the police arrive and everyone runs away. Despite this, Lacey tells Zeke that she enjoyed herself a lot. Over time, the students begin to listen to Lacey and pay attention to her lectures. Later, they visit a farm to learn about its tools. While there, some students accidentally fire a tranquilizer gun, hitting one student and then Lacey. Under the effect, Lacey behaves oddly, as if intoxicated. Zeke takes her home, and Nora arrives, worried about Lacey's condition as child services are coming to interview them. Lacey cares for Nora like her own child, but her current state could jeopardize their lives. Lacey faints, and when she wakes up, she finds Zeke and Nora pretending to be a couple to impress the child services officials. Zeke even kisses Nora to make the act more convincing. The officials are impressed and leave. Zeke's cooking skills also impress them. Later, Zeke finds his money bag and initially feels happy but then begins crying, realizing that his current life is beautiful and money cannot bring him joy anymore. Zeke repays Zainab and her club owner and tells her he now prefers the life of a teacher. The day of the play arrives, and Nora wants to play Juliet so she can kiss her crush, a cute and smart boy. She has even memorized Juliet's lines. Zeke comes up with a plan, adding something to the actor's drink, making him vomit, and ultimately giving the role to Nora. The play begins, and it's colorful and modern. The audience enjoys it immensely, and the play earns second place. Everyone applauds, and Nora finally gets to kiss her crush. Later, Zeke's students impress the principal with a robot they built in the science club. The principal offers Zeke a permanent job. One student takes a high jump class but falls into a pit Zeke had dug earlier. Lacey helps the student out, and upon investigating the pit, finds Zeke, who is burying it back. She overhears him talking to Zainab on the phone. Lacey gets angry, feeling used, and slaps Zeke, demanding he quit his job or she will call the police. Over time, Zeke has genuinely become a better person. He quits the school and spends a night at the club, staring at the bags signed by his students. The next morning, in the rain, Lacey arrives at school and sees the students outside. They tell her they've covered for Zeke, claiming they dug the pit as a prank and taking full responsibility. Before their important test, Zeke had told them to bring their most meaningful pictures to motivate them. As Lacey opens Zeke's drawer, she finds her childhood picture, realizing she inspired him. She smiles, and Zainab arrives with a letter from Zeke, in which he apologizes and promises to use the money to repair the gym. Zainab tells Lacey that if Zeke quits teaching, he might return to robbing banks. Meanwhile, Nora recovers and decides not to return. Lacey calls Zeke, but her call goes to voicemail. She seeks help from the science club students to contact Zeke. They use a robot in Zeke's car to communicate with him and learn he is planning a bank robbery with his friend. Zeke's friend destroys the robot, but Zeke ultimately chooses to leave his friend, holding the student's hands instead, and vows never to return to a life of crime. In the evening, Zeke visits Lacey with a bag and handcuffs on his hands. Lacey assumes he's done something wrong and starts crying. She grabs the bag and runs, but slips on the stairs. Upon opening it, she finds a beautiful black dress and shoes Zeke bought for her, intending to ask her to prom. Lacey kisses Zeke and agrees to go to prom with him. At prom, the principal calls them, warning that the class must achieve high grades or the school will shut down. Zeke admits he's unqualified, but the principal offers him a high school diploma to avoid trouble. Finally, Zeke and Lacey dance at prom, kiss again, and begin a new chapter in their lives. The movie concludes with this happy ending.